At Cabana, we understand the struggles of working in healthcare. Whether it's loss, coworker challenges, or trouble balancing work and home, we're here. And so are 85,000 peers from hospitals and health systems all across the country. Connect with others who have been there. Join our live, daily group classes for support and growth. Because finding someone who gets what you're going through shouldn't be its own struggle. Learn more at www.mycabana.health.
This is Bite of Balance, your weekly snack-size therapy sesh. I'm your host, Christine, and today's Bite is all about speaking up around death and grieving, as we recap our episode with Dr. Moria Cockrell, a certified death doula. If you missed that episode, be sure to check it out. But for now, it's just you and me. So let's dive in. Here's the thing. Death and grief are topics that often make people uncomfortable or squirm in their seats. It's like we've all collectively agreed not to talk about this elephant in the room, something that we're all going to experience. And ignoring it doesn't make it go away. So I think the first order of business, and something Dr. Cockrell really emphasized, was that it's time to break the silence. Because death is one of those things that is as certain as taxes. So why not talk about it openly and honestly? It's not going to jinx you or summon the Grand Reaper to your door. That's a big misconception, that if we talk about death, it's like a taboo in some sort of way. We've got to change that narrative. Talking about it doesn't make it happen. It's just the reality of life. So don't be afraid to bring it up with your friends and your family and start to have these conversations. You might be surprised how liberating it makes you feel and how meaningful the conversations can be. Next, I want to get into grief, because that is the uninvited guest of life. Grief is that unexpected visitor who is unannounced at your door and really refuses to leave. It can catch you off guard and might make you feel unprepared. I mean, let's be real. Is anyone ever prepared? And if it's one thing we know, it's grief is not linear. But here's the deal. It's okay to grieve. It's a natural part of life, and it doesn't follow anyone's schedule. There is no schedule. There are no 5 stages. It will hit you at different times in different ways. Think of it as the friend that crashes the party, eats all the snacks, and leaves behind a mess. But they're still your friend, and you have to deal with them. Grief is a roller coaster, and it doesn't come with a manual. So don't try to make a one-size-fit-all approach. Allow yourself the space and the grace that you need. Some days that might be you're on top of the world, allowing yourself to remember someone's legacy. And other days it might be Netflix binging in your pajamas. Either way, both of those are perfectly okay. Dr. Moria Cockrell is a death doula. And if it's one thing I got from that episode, it is how amazing that role is and what it does. So if you haven't heard of a death doula, no, it is not a mystical creature. It's a real thing. A death doula is like a life coach for, well, the end of life. They provide emotional, informational, and educational support to individuals and families navigating the journey of death and grief. Think of them as your personal guide through the treacherous waters of grief. They won't make it disappear, but they will make it a lot easier to navigate. A death doula is there to hold your hand, listen to your fears, which your end-of-life wishes, and even assist with, what this next era of your life looks like. They're like the GPS for the emotional road trip that is after death. All right, now for our Bite of Balance takeaway tool for the week. Assess your circle of support. Think of it as assembling your Avengers team for life's battles. Identify the people in your life who can be your emotional safety net during these tough times. And know that sometimes it may not be your inner circle. Maybe it's a group. Maybe it's some coworkers who have shared experience. Friends, family, or even professionals. Gather them around you and make sure you know who you can count on. Also remember that it's okay if some of these people don't have the words. Sometimes being in silence or sharing a playlist can still count as support. Grief is a journey that's best traveled with someone. You don't have to do it alone. So that's a wrap on death and grief for this week. Here's the main takeaways. Death and grief are not subjects to be feared or avoided. They're an integral part of the human experience. Embrace them, talk about them, and seek support when needed. It can make the journey in this difficult era a little less rocky. Your grief is as unique as you are, and it's okay to reach out for help along the way, whether it's a death doula, a friend, or a support group. You don't have to face it alone. And last, let's make a pact to talk more about this stuff. Let's make death a little less mysterious and grief a little less daunting. After all, we're in this together. Until next time, mind your health.
The team at Cabana has found your reset button. The answer? Cabana Pods, acoustic soundproof booths with immersive micro vacations proven to boost your mood in just 5 minutes. To learn more about Cabana Pods, visit www.evenhealth.com/pods.